Out there today, boys. That was awesome.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, guys, check it out. We got the new fifth quarter jerseys and a note from Tommy. Tommy says, best of luck this season, and remember to keep the fifth quarter tradition alive. Whoa! Hey, guys, look. We made it to the R-Bar.
I'm already ready to go.
Our plays are on fire today, boys.
Yeah, so these wings.
And the drinks are secured.
Cheers to our bar.
Fifth quarter.
Meet the MSU players here at the R-Bar after every home game.
Proudly presented by the Bobcat Collective at Montana State. The Bobcat Collective is the NIL collective that serves Montana State University student athletes. The collective has partnered with Montana State to connect fans, alumni, businesses, and local nonprofits with Montana State student athletes. Opportunities through the collective allow student athletes to earn compensation while serving the greater Montana State University community. Sign up now for memberships and enjoy automatic entry into raffles for free tickets while supporting the bright minds at Montana State. They have multiple different membership tiers, and you can also be a one-time supporter, and you can also business partner or corporate supporter. Visit bobcatcollective.com for more. And now with Montana State women's basketball, rivalry on the horizon, 2 p.m. at Brick Breeden Fieldhouse as Montana State hosts Montana. Daniel Salle will be on the call, as he has for the last couple of years. He's the voice of the Montana State women's basketball team. Daniel, thanks for being here, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
First of all, I know you just got done with practice, so how's it been going? Interesting. These are always interesting when you have the long week, and usually on a Thursday, you're getting ready for a game tonight, but a couple extra days to prepare. So, what's the preparation process been like for Montana State's women this week with the Lady Griz coming to town?
Well, Coach Ben, first of all, she loves this week. She loves Cat Griz, and so she'll make sure the team's ready to go. And I think, when you have a few more days of preparation, it really helps you simplify things for the team and, kind of take your time in the preparation process instead of maybe feeling a little more rushed. So it's been smooth so far.
Well, it's been fun to watch this Bobcat women's team because, I hate to say that I was right, but I'm right. I knew when they lost a couple of the gals they lost, it'd be hard to replace. But I honestly thought, okay, well, with what they're bringing in and what they have on their roster, if those young ladies can take the next step, I think they're going to be right there. And we've seen that. Taylor Chiric, she was a star last year. She's a superstar now. Madison Harris, you can see the potential, and now she's a premier level talent in the Big Sky Conference and on down the line. So I know last year, big expectations coming off of a 30-win year, but what have you seen out of this team that's helped them, still sort of be in the driver's seat, at least early on here in Big Sky Conference play?
Well, I think going into a season and you maybe have a couple people circled in your head who you expect to take a leap, like you mentioned, but I think seeing what Taylor and Addie have done so far obviously stands out. You lose a player like Esme Morales, you're going to have a question at the point guard position just naturally. And I think Jamison's really stepped up in that role, just being a level head at that point guard position. And then, when she gets on the defensive side, she flips the switch and really gets after opposing teams. I think the moment I definitely realized we have a pretty special team on our hands was that UNLV game, and that was coming off of an already big win at Portland. But UNLV is pretty big time program on the West Coast, whether it be mid major or not, and they came in here, and I thought we took care of business that night. And since then there's been some highs and there's been some lows, but all things considered, I think this team has a special level of togetherness, and they all love to compete. And that's a reflection of the head coach. Coach Binford's good at finding people, along with Sonny Smallwood, the recruiting coordinator. They're really good at finding people who match their level of intensity. And they come out and they defend, and they put their best foot forward every night. So that's been super fun to watch. And as they continue to grow and mature, being so young, I think they'll continue to approach a level of consistency that'll help make this a special year.
Well, so there's been a proof of concept now because Tricia Binford has been there for so long. She's proven that when she has these great groups that accomplish these great things and then they leave from graduation, that they can just turn the page. I mean, they've done it multiple times. They've had multiple of like the quote unquote best teams in school history, and they've kept on sustaining. So what do you think is the key to that sustainability? How has she and her staff been able to just produce so many consistently great results, especially over these last 10 years?
I mean, I really admire it. I've been around a lot of good coaches at this point in my life, and watching the way Coach Ben leads, the way she runs her program, I think she's just made of all the right stuff. She looks for character. She looks for student athletes who are going to come in and really embody the core values of this program. She wants people who are going to be great students and be great teammates, be ones that can be depended on by their fellow teammates. And I just feel like she's taken the time to build a great culture here, and that's appealing to high school players that want to come in here and be a part of something special. And I think no one player is ever bigger than the program, and she understands that and just wants the people who want to be here, and she obviously wants to be here. And it's just been pretty amazing, being in year 4 in this program now to see the way she runs things, and she does an incredible job.
When I was approached by a group of men, really right out of our national championship appearance, I think they saw NIL as an opportunity to continue to allow our program to grow. And it was very well thought out of. At the time, they didn't just come up with this on a whim. I think they studied other institutions across the country at all levels to be able to do it right, to be able to implement it the right way, align themselves ultimately with Blueprint after talking, I think, with several outside entities on how it should be managed. All our intentions with the Bobcat Collective are in the right place, and that's the most important thing. They're about continuing to promote our program, allowing our guys opportunities to help along with that. I think that's really important. It really, I think, has provided this give and take. Our guys are certainly benefiting from it, but then they're giving back at the same time, whether it's individual opportunities with particular businesses or just in general giving back through the collective to our community.
Skyline Sports is on the road to Nashville. We couldn't do it without Blackfoot Communications. As the Montana State Bobcats take Bozeman pride on the road for the national championship, Blackfoot Communications is proud to support the businesses that keep this community moving. With managed services, high-speed internet, and business voice solutions, Blackfoot delivers the reliability and local support Bozeman businesses depend on game day and every day. Blackfoot Communications has been around for more than 70 years, providing high-quality jobs to people around southwestern Montana. To learn more, visit blackfoot.com. Blackfoot Communications, powering Bobcats and powering Bozeman businesses.
Injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a bigger settlement, up to 3.5 times bigger. Your initial consultation is 100% free, and we don't get paid unless we win your case. No matter the accident, we are here to help. The advocates will fight for you because you deserve clarity. You deserve justice. You deserve guidance. You deserve an advocate. Contact us today.
Daniel Salle joining us here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. He's the play-by-play man for the radio broadcasts of Bobcat women's basketball. They host the Lady Griz on Saturday afternoon. How about just the point guard transition? That's another proof of concept, right? She's had so many great point guards over the years. Esme Morales, one of the great players that's come through Montana State, Big Sky MVP a year ago, but they haven't really missed a beat. So what has been the key to that? And just take us through sort of that progression within the program this year.
Well, it's been pretty unique, to see the majority of the point guard duties being handled by 2 freshmen in Jamison and Brienne. Obviously, Jamison's started every game for us so far this season, and she's someone who's just a really unique player to me. I think when she's got the ball in her hands and she's working as a playmaker, she's got a really level head. She's really steady, really good at taking care of the ball and making the right plays, setting up her teammates, or like we saw in overtime against Eastern Washington, getting to the rim and making things happen on her own sometimes. But then defensively, she just gets after the opponent. I mean, whether it be in the backcourt or in the half court, she's relentless on that end of the floor. And so, what she brings to the table is, I think, a really great fit for the style of play on this team and this program. And she's someone who has answered a lot of question marks that I think a lot of people probably had going into the season. And, she's done a great job. Brianne's been backing her up. She just had her best game of the season so far, I thought, on Saturday against Idaho. And I think between those two, you have a really, high level of talent, and obviously they're both freshmen, so they're just getting started.
What's different about this Bobcat team than maybe last year? Because a lot of the stuff they're doing looks the same, and I think that's another testament to the stability of the program, right? Like they still want to force a bunch of turnovers. They're still going to put so much pressure on you. Guarding, in the full court and the half court is such a high priority for Coach Binford year in and year out. Um, what's different about this team, though? What makes them sort of have their own identity, maybe compared to last year and maybe previous years before that?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference to me is last year's team just had so much experience. And while Esme was new to the program last year, she wasn't new to this league and she wasn't new to college basketball. So she was a vet and she was a leader. And then you had some players like KJ, Mara, Taylor, Lexi, who have played a ton of minutes of college basketball. And then you had Addie and Taylor as freshmen to come off the bench and just really turn it loose and not have to think much. And now you have Addie and Taylor as probably your two most experienced players, along with Ella Johnson and Izzy Bunyan. And those four are the most experienced players we have, and none of them are seniors. There's no seniors on the roster this year, and I think the youth definitely stands out. But there's also, I think, a level of hunger within this team. They like to fight, they like to compete, and they are out to prove themselves on a nightly basis, as far as I can tell. So I feel like, this year it's just, it's a more inexperienced group, but that doesn't stop them from going out there and playing with confidence every night.
Well, take us through last weekend because it was sort of a tale of two games, right? But proving you can win in multiple ways, I think, is the sign of a really good team. And I watched the Thursday game. They couldn't shoot it a lick, but they figured out a way to guard well enough to drag it into overtime and then emerge and beat Eastern Washington. And then they shot the heck out of it on Saturday and almost scored 100. So just take us
Yeah,
through
I think there was
the different styles.
For sure, yeah. There was definitely a level of excitement going into last week, mainly, well, for two main reasons. First of all, it's first time playing at home since December 6th when we played North Dakota. So I think coming back home brought a level of excitement. And then you take into account that, in my opinion, at least, Eastern Washington and Idaho are two of the best teams in this conference, and two of the best coaching staffs as well. And so they came in here, and Thursday, I thought Eastern gave us their best punch. And I think a lot of teams are probably going to give us their best punch. That's what happens when you're the reigning champions of the league. A lot of people are going to come in and put their best foot forward. And I didn't feel like we were at our best throughout the majority of that game. But at the end of the day, it's about finding a way, especially when you're at home. Keaton and I always talk about, home wins being oxygen, road wins being gold in the Big Sky, especially with how the travel can be sometimes in this conference. And I thought, they got challenged going into the second half, and they really answered the call. I thought Taylor really stepped up. I mean, her and Addie both had big scoring games. Jamison had a couple really big moments as well. And Eastern Washington, obviously, they're a tough physical team. They defend well always, and that's Coach Gleason. She does a fantastic job getting her teams ready to go. So I thought that was definitely a really good test, and to be able to come out of there with the win, especially after how we looked through the first two, maybe three quarters, just a testament to being able to find a way, I thought, against a very good team. And then in the Idaho game, I thought the biggest difference was bench production. Thursday night against Eastern Washington, the bench scored 4 points. And Saturday, the bench scored 47 points, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big difference. And you got to be able to lean on your bench when you're picking up full court like we do all game. So I thought that was a huge, huge difference in the Idaho game.
If you're Montana State, what's the number one concern you have with Montana coming to town then on Saturday?
I mean, to me, there's a couple things. Well, first of all, I'm not sure what Matt Koenig's status is, and
Sure.
as far as my radio preparation goes, I'll have my section for her ready to go because I think it's obvious that she's one of the very best players in the Big Sky. But after that, I think you have a team in Montana that leads the Big Sky in 3-point attempts, and you have a team in Montana State that right now is 10th in 3-point field goal percentage defense. So that'll be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on. And the other thing is you look up and down the numbers for Montana State's defense, and they're top 10 in the nation in turnovers forced per game. They're forcing 26 turnovers per game right now, maybe 26 and a half. You have Taylor Chiric, who's top 5 in the country in steals per game. Right now, we're 3rd in the country in steals per game and also top 10 in turnover margin. So, those are things that can help disrupt the flow of Montana and hopefully help stop them from getting a lot of clean looks from outside because, when they get into a rhythm, they're a really tough team to guard because they can spread you out, move the ball around, and get some really clean looks. I think, I already mentioned Mac. I think Avery Waddington's another player who's obviously one of the best players in this league as well, and she had big games against us last year too. So keeping an eye on her, making sure she's, being disrupted, not having the clean looks that she's looking for. So I think those things are definitely big. And I noticed just throughout the week and getting ready for this game that you look at Montana's starting lineup and you have Schubert and Land and Waddington, and those 3 combined are taking almost 17 threes a game. So that's going to be an area where for Montana State, it's just like, making that more difficult for them because they're going to be looking for it, it seems like.
Well, last thing for you, it's going to be quite a celebratory weekend in Bozeman because they're having the national championship parade for the football team, and I'm sure we're going to see multiple trophies get paraded around Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. That's going to be an interesting thing for both sides, I think, to handle, right? So if you're Montana State, though, how do you sort of ride that momentum? How do you sort of play off of the exterior excitement that is already going to add to what is always a great rivalry atmosphere?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing is the team showing up to shoot around in the morning locked in. I think that's when a lot of the parade stuff is going to be happening kind of in the build up to the game. I'd expect a slightly bigger crowd on Saturday with all that going on and people being able to make their way over from the celebration for the championship over to the Brick for the game at 2:00. But, I think these are the types of things that you want to see happening within an athletic department. And I think that's a testament to the success that all the programs around here have had under Leon's watch. And for the football team to finally get over the hump, I think that's a testament to their character, what they're about as a program. And obviously they had to be resilient in that national championship game. And I think that sends a great message around the department. But this week brings a level of excitement that comes on its own. I think, I've really noticed and appreciated since I've been here. This is a rivalry that, I don't think you necessarily get everywhere else. I think it's different than any rivalry I've ever been a part of as as a fan or as someone who's worked in athletics for a little while now. And I just feel like that carries a level of excitement and emotion that takes care of itself. So, I feel like that'll be a big thing. And, with a lot of players on our team, it being their first Cat Griz game, that's probably something to keep an eye on as well. But we're going to expect a great crowd on Saturday. The Gold Rush theme, I think, adds a little bit to the ambiance as well. But it's an exciting day. And, I think it's just a matter of being able to, keep your cool and stay locked in.
Daniel Salle here on Nuanez Now, 109 ESPN Radio. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you providing some insight for Montana State women's basketball. He'll be live on the call across the Bobcat Radio Network on Saturday. But thanks so much for doing it, man. And we'll see you in Bozeman on Saturday.
Yeah, Colter, thanks, man. Always appreciate it and appreciate your coverage.
Country Foods, proud to support the 2025 Bobcats on their way to Nashville and also proud to support Skyline Sports on their road to Nashville as well. Town & Country Foods is 100% employee-owned. They have 9 locations serving Bobcat Nation around southwest Montana. Town & Country Foods focuses on great food at a great price with a huge selection of organic and natural foods. Check out their weekly flyers on tncfood.com. Town & Country Foods in Bozeman, Belgrade, Helena, Livingston, Lewistown, Billings, and Dillon. Town & Country Foods, a stalwart of the Bobcat community and a proud sponsor of the road to Nashville at Skyline Sports.